Welcome back to the Moon and Magnolia Suburban Homestead, and I am sharing today what I eat in a day. And I'm making meals from my garden harvest. But if you don't have a garden, don't worry, you can make any of these meals and recipes with food from the grocery store. Now, I like breakfast food, but I don't believe that breakfast has to be traditional breakfast food. So I'm sort of doing a mashup with this sourdough bruschetta toast and jalapeno eggs. There are just 3 of us in my household, so when I have a loaf of sourdough bread like this, I usually don't make any other carb or grain until that's completely gone, because a loaf of bread like that will last us about 5 days, sometimes even up to a week, especially if I keep it in the freezer. Now, making sourdough toast isn't as simple as just popping it in a traditional toaster, because it is a high hydration bread, meaning it has more moisture, so it won't toast well in a regular toaster. I have a full recipe on my blog for how to make perfect sourdough toast. I'll leave that in the description box below, but essentially you just put some fat on it, oil or butter, and put it on the stove top to toast it and get it nice and crispy. And then I'm topping this with bruschetta that I canned from last year. I think those tomatoes from the bruschetta were from a farmer's market, and the recipe for that bruschetta is in the Ball book for home preservation and canning. I'll leave a link for that too in the description box. So this is really simple. I just toasted up the sourdough and I'm topping it with this bruschetta, and it definitely needs a little bit of salt. I ate one piece of this because it's so good. I could not stop myself. And then I decided I really needed to add some protein, because even though toast and tomatoes is delicious, it's really not enough to hold me over until lunchtime. I know for a lot of folks, the idea of homesteading and even suburban homesteading includes backyard chickens. I do not have backyard chickens because we are not allowed. Our HOA does not allow it, and I also just don't want them. So I have someone who does have a bunch of backyard chickens, and I buy fresh eggs from her at $5 a dozen. And we are using these all the time right now because they are so good. They are really not comparable eggs from the store and eggs from someone's backyard. They are delicious. So I'm just making some really simple scrambled eggs here. And when I make scrambled eggs, I like to add a little bit of milk and then season them with salt and pepper, or sometimes I also like to use a little bit of adobo. And the secret, I think, to cooking eggs is low and slow. I know it's tempting to get the skillet really nice and hot and pour the eggs on there, but then they cook so fast they don't even really get a chance to get fluffy. So here I am adding butter, and you'll notice in this video I'm using a lot of butter. You don't know how much butter you use until you film yourself cooking. So I'm letting the butter melt, and then I'm adding the eggs into the skillet, and I have the heat on pretty low temperature, and then I'm just pushing them around and letting them cook low and slow. It doesn't mean like it's gonna take 10 minutes low and slow. It just takes a couple extra minutes this way. I've read a lot of articles online that say not to cook eggs in a cast iron skillet because they will stick, but that is not true. So if your cast iron skillet is well seasoned, you should have no problems cooking eggs in it. If you aren't sure how to season your skillet, I have a full guide on my blog that I'll link in the description box below. We have a ton of jalapenos in our garden. I'm hoping to candy a lot of them this year, but while the first few are trickling in, I'm putting them raw on all my food because I love spicy food. Now, if you're not a spicy food person, maybe that's not a good option. You could use bell peppers, but I simply just chop them up and put them on the eggs. And I like that warm, soft texture of the eggs paired with the cool, crunchy texture of the jalapenos. It is so good. Now, in this particular morning, it was just me at home for breakfast, so that's not something I would really make my 3-year-old. I'd skip the jalapenos for her, but she would definitely eat the toast and plain eggs, and my husband would eat that as is. So when I'm making meals, I like to make them in a way that I can tailor them to everyone's preferences without having to make extra food. So that's why it's easier just to put the jalapenos on raw, for example, because if I cook them in, then I have all these spicy scrambled eggs that I couldn't feed my daughter. But it didn't matter on this day, really, because she wasn't home in the morning. So even though it is still morning, I am making zucchini fritters to eat for a snack throughout the day and also to use for dinner. So one of my favorite things to do, especially during these summer days when I just don't want to be in the kitchen in the evenings, is in the morning, I like to make dinner if possible, so that way I don't have to think about it later. Our zucchini plants this year are prolific producers. So I have a ton of zucchini to use, and I also have giant zucchinis to use. So I slice this up just enough so I can hold it and shred it. And I'm using a regular old box grater to shred the zucchini, and I'm tossing it into a bowl. You could definitely squeeze the water out of this. I just didn't because I didn't really have enough time. So either way is totally fine. And then I'm just mixing in eggs, flour, and spices. So the eggs and the flour hold the zucchini cake together, and of course the spices just make it taste good. Now, if you don't have zucchini, you can make this with just about anything. Veggie fritters are a great way to use up what you have in the fridge. So you could shred carrots, potatoes, sweet potatoes, yellow squash. Really, you kind of can't go wrong here. So just use what you have. It just so happens that I have a ton of zucchini to use. Here I'm adding in the flour, and I eyeball this. If you're the type that likes specific measurements, this might drive you a little bit crazy. But because I just have these random sized zucchinis from the garden, I don't exactly know how much flour to add in. So I'm just adding in a couple spoonfuls at a time. And what I'm looking for is the consistency to start turning into almost a paste. And I'm using my hand to stir it at first. I know that's a little weird, but I find that it just works better sometimes. Our hands are great tools in the kitchen. But once you'll see here, I add a little bit of extra flour, and eventually the consistency turns into somewhat of a paste that sticks to the spoon. So I recommend just adding in a tablespoon or so of flour at a time until it reaches that consistency. And you can use whatever spices you like to season this. I just use salt, pepper, freeze-dried onion powder, and a little bit of garlic powder. But depending on the veggies you use, you could get really creative with this too. So don't be afraid to just try out new things and test different spices and flavors. Anytime I make veggie fritters, I really like to fry them in coconut oil. I feel like the coconut oil kind of highlights the veggie flavor rather than masking it, so it's actually my favorite for veggie fritters. Now, I will say I put too much coconut oil in this pan. I don't know what I was thinking. When you are pan frying like this, it's good just to have a thin layer of oil. It made it pretty hard to turn these without splashing the oil, so just make sure you do a better job than I did here and use a little less oil. I fried these on each side for about 2 to 3 minutes or until they were golden, and then I salt them while they're hot. That's a really important part of fried food like this. Make sure you salt them while they're hot. Now, I'll show you in a few minutes how I reheated them and used them later. Now I'm using one of my all-time favorite cookbooks, Deep Run Roots. So I live in southeastern North Carolina. I've lived here for 20 years, and I learned to cook here. So southeastern North Carolina traditional food is really close to my heart, and this cookbook features that. And so I am making cucumber salad, and I'm using that cookbook just to make sure I get the ingredient measurements right, because the last few times I made cucumber salad, I was way too heavy-handed with the sugar, and then the time before I was way too heavy-handed with the vinegar. So I just want to make sure I get the ratios right. These cucumbers are fresh out of our garden, and one thing I want to note about growing cucumbers is that if you pick them when it's cool in the morning, they will be firm, but as the day heats up, they soften on the vine, and if you pick them at that time, then you have soft cucumbers. So you want to pick them in the morning so they're nice and firm. I'm also adding in a little bit of leftover red onion. So my red onion is a little sparse and it's chopped kind of weird because I actually was using this for photos for something else on my blog, but I'm just using up those ingredients. I am mixing the cucumbers and red onion with some sugar and salt and black pepper and letting them just chill in that for a little bit. I stir it up so everything is nice and coated in those seasonings and then let them set aside for a few minutes. And in the meantime, I am slicing up some Roma tomatoes from our garden. So our tomato plants, I think they're doing well. I just shared a garden tour on YouTube recently. I'll leave that in the description box below. We're trying some new methods with our tomatoes, like the Florida weave, and I feel like they're a little squished, and they're also way bigger than I ever anticipated them being, and they might not have enough room to grow, but we are starting to get some tomatoes from our plants. So I'm slicing those up, and in the meantime, I am thawing some pork chops that I can cook later for dinner. I'm adding the tomatoes into the rest of the vegetables and then pouring in some apple cider vinegar, but what I like about this is the magic happens over a few hours while I go live my life. So this sits in the vinegar and the seasonings and does its thing. And then I have this big bowl of garden fresh vegetables that I can add on everything. So I really like to make foods or recipes like this where I have a condiment or a side that pairs well with just about everything I make, because I'm going to use that cucumber salad for lunch and dinner, and I ended up having more for leftovers the next day, and it only took me like 5 minutes of hands-on time. For lunch, my daughter requested grilled cheese sandwiches, which is not what I would have picked for myself necessarily, but I ended up using up some of that cucumber salad with this, and it was really good. So because I have this fresh loaf of sourdough bread, I of course am using it. And really, anytime I have fresh bread around, I try to incorporate it into as many meals as I can so we get through it. It's just a really easy way to incorporate some carbs and grains into our meals. And here I am again making sourdough toast for grilled cheese sandwiches, and I am adding a little bit of shredded cheddar cheese and Gruyere. I do have a 3-year-old who really likes stinky cheese, so she loves the Gruyere cheese on here too. And similarly to what I was saying about breakfast, what I like about simple meals like this is I can tailor them to our preferences. So for her, I made a simple grilled cheese and served it with a side of sliced nectarines because they are delicious this time of year. And for mine, I added some of the cucumber salad to the sandwich, and it was really good. And I think it's especially important to note that on days like this, when I am making 3 meals and snacks from scratch, that the redundancy is key. I don't want to think a lot about it. I'm doing sourdough toast a couple of times. I have cucumber salad that we're going to use a couple times. We're having zucchini fritters for snacks and dinner. And it really takes out a lot of that mental energy or that bandwidth that we feel like we have to spend when we're cooking from scratch. We feel like every meal has to be something new and exciting, but in reality, you can have just a couple of ingredients and use them different ways and really simplify your scratch-made meals. Now, this grilled cheese sandwich was killer. I'm definitely going to make this one again. We finally have made it to dinner. So for dinner, I am making pork chops and serving them with zucchini fritters topped with cucumber salad. So it's all coming together here at the end. So I'm just adding a little bit of salt and pepper to the pork chops. And lately I have been pan searing my meat and then finishing it up in the oven, because having that hot gas stove on these hot days, it's been very hot here in southeastern North Carolina. It is just not what I'm in the mood for. So I like the crispy sear, but the oven just keeps it a little bit cooler in the house. And while the pork chops are cooking, I am reheating the zucchini fritters. So traditionally, fried food doesn't reheat well, and I am not a huge air fryer person. I do like them for a few things, and one of them is definitely reheating fried food. So these fritters, or even like fried chicken, for example, things like that, they get really nice and crispy when you reheat them in the air fryer. So once I have the pork chops in the oven, I am getting the air fryer set up and ready to go. I don't really want to add any more oil to them since I already fried them, but I did spray the air fryer basket with just a little bit of avocado oil to make sure they don't stick. We ate some of the zucchini fritters for snacks throughout the day, so that was nice. But once I crisped them up in the air fryer, I think they might have actually been better than they were fresh out of the skillet. But I really like this because I can do the things like frying food, for example, or pan frying food in the morning when it's quiet and I have the time in this space, and then just easily reheat it later. It's really hard on a weeknight to fry food. There's sort of a lot going on and it requires a lot of attention. So I can get that stuff done in the morning and then enjoy it in the evening. So the pork chops are out of the oven and I'm just making sure that they are to temperature, and mine were actually a little overcooked, but that is okay. And I am just serving this up with a fried zucchini fritter, a little bit of cucumber salad, and this ended up being a scratch made but really easy weeknight dinner, because by the time dinner rolled around, I only had to make the pork chops and reheat the zucchini fritter. I hope this video has inspired you to simplify your scratch-made cooking, use vegetables from your garden if you have one, or just to think a little more creatively about how you are cooking. Thanks so much for stopping by today, and I'll see you again next time.